Hello friends, I'm George, the nice medic gentleman. Welcome back to the channel guys, I hope that all of you are doing well. Since lately it's been quite trendy to score and rank cheap fragrances, and I admit I am one of those guys that are guilty of making it a trend. Today I'm going to score some more cheap fragrances. Today I'm going to rank 20 of the most popular Lattafa fragrances that I have in my collection. And before I actually start with the scoring the fragrances, the 20 fragrances featured today, I'm really curious, how did you find my scoring? Do you agree with it? If you agree, use the comment section to let me know. If you didn't, also please use the comment section to let me know. Now, the lowest score that you're going to see in today's video, in today's ranking, will be the score of 4. And the first one that is going to actually get a score of 4 may surprise somebody. And I just wanted to mention something else out. When I'm scoring the fragrances, I always keep in mind a few things: the scent, how much I actually enjoy it personally, how well they perform, and their price. And so let's start with the actual scoring. And the lowest scored fragrance in today's video will be Qa'ed Zanzibar. Now, as I said, this may surprise some people because this fragrance received quite a lot of hype a few months ago when it was actually released. It received some mixed reviews. Some people were quite positive about it, some people not so much, but to be honest, this was really disappointing for me. And the main reason for that is because of the opening of this fragrance. It just feels highly synthetic to my nose, just way too sweet, way overdone, and to be honest, I just cannot get past that opening. The dry down is not that bad, it's more enjoyable, but that opening, I just cannot stand it. And the second main reason why this will get a low score, the lowest score in fact in today's video, is because of the build quality. Now, I've seen other people report this. I don't know if you can hear the rattle inside, but for some reason the craftsmanship on the Qa'ed Zanzibar bottles, as other people have always also reported, has been quite poor. So those are the main reasons why Lattafa Zanzibar will get the lowest score in today's video, a score of 4. Now, the next fragrance will get a score of 5, and that fragrance is called Nasheet. Now, the fragrance itself actually is not bad at all, but a few reasons why this will get a score of 5. First of all, keep in mind this is somewhat of a clone of Paco Rabanne's Invictus. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the original fragrance, so that's the main reason why this will get a score of 5. Also, for some reason, my bottle of Nasheet has never been that good of a performer. That's the second main reason why this will get a score of 5. But keep in mind that this is very easy to wear, youthful fragrance, and I mean, it's not a bad deal at the end of the day, especially if it works on your skin, but on my skin just doesn't work, doesn't last. And because I also think that the Invictus DNA has been way overplayed at this point of time, Lattafa Nasheet will actually get a score of 5. Moving on to 2 fragrances that will get a score of 6. The first one again may surprise some people because it's Badia Al Oud, Oud for Glory. This one, of course, being a clone of Oud for Greatness from Initio. I'll give you a few reasons why this will get a score of 6. Now, on its own, as a clone of the original fragrance, it actually does a very good job at replicating the original scent, but the original scent has never been one of my favorites, and Badia Al Oud, Oud for Glory, because of that, that's the main reason why this won't be ranked or scored higher than 6. It's a good clone of Oud for Greatness, but it's just too spicy and too oody for my taste. Lacks the sweetness that I would like this one to have in order to actually enjoy it. And the second reason is because for some reason, again, this has not worked very well on my skin. I just don't get the great performance that people claim this fragrance has on their skin in their experience. So those are the 2 main reasons why this will get a score of 6. And then the other fragrance that will get a score of 6 is Nasheet from Lattafa, of course, this one being a clone of Nishane Ani. Again, a few reasons why this won't get a higher score, considering, keeping in mind the fact that I absolutely love Ani, the original fragrance. For me, this is just way too spicy, especially in the opening. And I just cannot enjoy that, too spicy opening. Also, it doesn't get very close on the dry down. It lacks the sweetness of the original fragrance. It lacks the citrusy opening of the original fragrance. And also, another thing is because of the performance. Again, this has been pretty poor performing fragrance on my skin. So that's the second main reason why Lattafa Nasheet would also get a score of 6. Moving on to the fragrances that will get a score of 7. The first one is part of the Hayati line and it's simply called Hayati, or some people call it Hayati Black. Now this fragrance is very similar to Lattafa Nasheet that I just showed you earlier, but again some people may question why this gets a score of 7 and Nasheet gets a score of 5. Well, the first main reason is because this works better on my skin and I get way better performance out of Hayati compared to to Nasheet. That's the main reason. And the second reason is because the scent in here is slightly different compared to Nasheet and I've been enjoying it way more, to be honest. I like the bottle design as well, and all around those are the main reasons why Hayati will get a score of 7. And two more fragrances will get a score of 7. The first one is part of the Liam line and it's called Liam, or Liam Blue Shine as it's the full name of the fragrance. This one is heavily inspired by Acqua di Gio Profondo, and actually it's not a bad clone or inspiration of Profondo. Again, the main reasons why this won't get a higher score is because I'm not a super big fan of the original fragrance, although this, as I said, is a good inspiration of the original fragrance, and that's probably actually the main reason why this will get a score of 7. Other than that, it's a good inspiration of the original scent. It actually gets it has very good performance, probably better than the OG, especially when it comes to projection. All around, it's a very masculine, classic masculine type of scent that's very versatile and can work all year round, safe for office usage as well. So Liam Blue Shine gets a score of 7, and then the other 7 will be this one, which is Fakhar Black. Now this fragrance was very hyped up, like a year and a half ago. One of the first hyped up fragrances from the brand of Lattafa. And it's actually a very decent fragrance on its own. It's heavily inspired by YSL EDP, although not a straight up clone. This is like a more youthful take on the original DNA. Feels a little bit sweeter, and all around actually not a bad fragrance. Again, the only reason that this will get a score of 7, there are two main reasons actually. First of all, I'm not a huge fan of YEDP, and second, again, Fakhar Black for some reason does not tend to last very long on my skin. Some people report very good performance out of this fragrance, but for me this has been above average, but nothing more than that. And moving on to a few fragrances that will get a score of 8. The first one, again part of the Badia Al Oud line. This one is called Honor and Glory. Now, an interesting fact about this fragrance is that this is not a straight up clone of anything. In fact, I don't think it's even been heavily inspired by anything. This is one of those rare occasions when Lattafa have made an unique own creation. A very interesting fragrance that relies on a pineapple note which feels sweet but fresh at the same time, and get a very interesting and unique creme brulee note in here that adds a bit of sweetness. You get some oud, some spices, all around a very interesting scent, to be honest. Quite enjoyable, quite unique, and has a very good performance. I like the bottle design, especially the coloring combination, and all around this has been quite a good find for me this year from the brand of Lattafa, and that's why Badia Al Oud, Honor and Glory will get a score of 8. The next two fragrances that get a score of 8 are first Liam Grey, which is again part of the Liam line, the other fragrance in this line. And this fragrance is a clone of BDK's Gris Charnel, and actually is a very decent clone of Gris Charnel. You get that very interesting scent that has some greenness, some spices. You get some powderness and sweetness from an iris note, some sweetness and woodsy notes on the dry down. All around a unique scent, to be honest, like the original is, and a very good inspiration of the original. Feels almost spot on, compared to the original fragrance. Has pretty decent performance, pretty low price, and it's a perfectly unisex fragrance in my opinion. And those are the reasons why this will get a score of 8. The next one that gets a score of 8 is Al Qiyam Silver. This is part of the Lattafa Pride line, and this fragrance is a clone of Bulgari's Tiger. I've said this over and over, but that scent DNA is just one of my most favorite fragrances. It has a juicy grapefruit note, you get some ginger, some citruses, you get lots of musk and woody notes, ambery sweetness, all around very close to the original fragrance. Very versatile, very masculine scent that has a very good performance, and just simply it's not my most favorite inspiration of Tiger, and that's why this will get a score of 8. I also don't like the bottle design and the quality, the other two main reasons why this will get a score of 8. So the next two fragrances with a score of 8, Liam Grey and Al Qiyam Silver. And the last fragrance that will get a score of 8 will be Lattafa Jasor, this one being a clone of Valentino Uomo, born in Roma Coral Fantasy. I'm not a huge fan of the original fragrance, but I cannot deny the fact that it's a very modern scent profile. It just works, get compliments, and it's very versatile. You get lots of spices, you get a bit of a green feel here, some aromatic properties, you get some fruity sweetness, you get some tonka bean sweetness and powderness, some tobacco, all around a very modern scent. Performance here is decent, nothing spectacular, but not bad at the same time. Good projection, you know, pretty competitive price tag. All around a very youthful and very modern scent that again just works and gets quite a lot of compliments. So those are the reasons why Jasor will be the last fragrance that will get a score of 8. Now moving on to a few fragrances that will get a score of 9 and that were very close to actually getting a score of 10, but I just didn't want to have too many 10s in today's video. The first two are very similar to each other. One is called Vintage Radio, part of the Lattafa Pride line, and the second one is called Al Nashama. And again, very similar to each other. Both are actually heavily inspired by Initio's Paragon, and both of them are very close to the original fragrance. I absolutely love the scent in here. You know, it's a very interesting mix of some fruity sweetness, some woody notes, a bit of spices. Both are very nice, very juicy, quite sweet, perfectly unisex. In fact, for some people may even lean to the feminine side. Both are priced pretty similar to each other, although usually Vintage Radio tends to be slightly more expensive, but in my opinion has slightly better quality than Al Nashama because it's part of the Pride line. Sometimes can be hard to find, but I really like the scent of both of them. There are a few minor differences in the scent of the two fragrances, but in general they are super close to each other, and it doesn't really matter with which one you will go if you're after a Paragon clone. The reasons why this will get a score of 9 rather than 10: first of all, they're not huge performers, and the second reason is because I'm not a huge fan of the bottle design of Al Nashama, to be honest, at all, and also Vintage Radio, the craftsmanship here has been a little bit on the lower side. So those are the only reasons why these two will get a score of 9. And the other two fragrances that will get a score of 9 will be again part of the Al Nashama line, which is Al Nashama Caprice, and this fragrance is cloning YSL La Nuit de L'Homme Blue Electric. Very similar to the original fragrance, maybe feels a little bit more powdery in the opening compared to the original fragrance, but has way better performance, easier to find, and it's quite cheap. And the second and the other 9, or the last fragrance that will get a score of 9 today, is Assad, the OG Assad, which of course is a clone of none other than Dior Sauvage Elixir. To this day, I think this is one of the best releases from the brand of Lattafa, one of the best deals that you can get of, you know, from a Lattafa fragrance. Very similar to the original fragrance, more like a twist, not a straight up clone, lacks a bit of the spiciness, just feels more vanillic, feels sweeter, and maybe even a little bit more wearable for some people. My bottle is one of the original bottles, early releases, has a very good performance, and all around both fragrances are very impressive. And again, the only reasons why this won't get a score of 10, in the case of Assad, I think that the Dior Sauvage Elixir DNA is starting to become a little bit overplayed at this point, and with Al Nashama Caprice because of the bottle design. But apart from that, both are absolutely fantastic. And moving on to the 5 fragrances that will actually get a score of 10. The first two are Amir Al Oud Intense Oud. Now this was probably my first ever Lattafa pickup, and to this day this remains one of my most favorite Lattafa fragrances. It's a scent that's heavily inspired by Maison Margiela's By the Fireplace. It's woody, it's sweet, it's spicy, it's smoky, and I absolutely love this fragrance. I love the cozy nature of the scent, I love the performance, I love the unisex aspect of it. All around, really lovely fragrance, and that's the reason why this will get a score of 10. Also, to this day remains a very cheap fragrance, just a bonus on top of everything else. The next one is again part of the Pride line, and it's called Ishq Al Shuk Goat. This is cloning Rosendo Mateus number 5, and I absolutely love it. Beast mode performing fragrance, heavy on the vanilla, heavy on the suede leather. You get some smoky vibes out of it, some woody notes, some spices. All around, absolutely fantastic fragrance. Sweet, dark, sophisticated, beast mode performer, beast mode projector. A little bit more expensive, but I still think this deserves a rating of 10, a score of 10. So the first two that will get a score of 10 Amir Al Oud Intense Oud, and Ishq Al Shuk Goat. The next two that will get a score of 10 will be both, Hamras, the OG Hamra and Hamra Hawa, the newer flanker to the OG. Now, the sticker here of the OG Hamra has fallen off, so that much for craftsmanship quality, but the scents in here are very, very nice. Super sweet fragrances that have that are perfectly unisex. Both have absolutely fantastic performance, and you cannot make a mistake going with either of them. Hamra is probably one of the most famous fragrances from the brand of Lattafa, and for a good reason. Very good performance, all around, very good projection, very, very nice scent. And Hawa is actually a very interesting, nice twist on the original DNA, adding a coffee note, making the whole fragrance a little bit more interesting and stronger. Total longevity is pretty equal between them, but Hawa, in my experience, has been even harder projecting. So those are the main reasons why the two Hamras will get a score of 10. And the last fragrance in today's video that will get a score of 10 from the brand of Lattafa is none other than Qa'ed Intense. A very, very nice fragrance that's an interesting mix between Givenchy Gentleman Reserve Privé and Dior Homme Intense. It's closer to to the Givenchy fragrance. You get that powdery scent profile that has quite a lot of warmth on the dry down, some boozy note, a hint of tobacco, the iris note, the ouds, but also feels a little bit more powdery compared to the OG, Reserve Privé, and that making it also somewhat close to Dior Homme Intense. I've been really enjoying this fragrance for a few reasons. First of all, the scent quality here is really, really nice. I'm a sucker for iris, powdery iris based fragrances, and I really enjoy this one. And also this is very, very strong when it comes to performance, almost beastly performing scent. And the best thing out of all is that I got it for a very, very cheap price, less than 25 euros. So what more you can ask from a fragrance? So those are the reasons why the last fragrance in today's video from Lattafa that will get a score of 10 will be Qa'ed Intense. And so guys, in today's video I scored 20 of the most popular Lattafa fragrances that I have in my collection. I hope that you found this video interesting or entertaining. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in the next one. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.